how you doing? This is John Roth from Deck Medic, and I'm here with Jeff Konopak, and we're going to talk a little bit about 2024 recap and knowing your numbers. If you don't know me, again, my name is John, and I spent about 6 years working as an owner of Deck Medic of Lake Norman. I bought the franchise in 2018 and sold it in late 2023. Currently, right now, I'm working as the national sales director of Deck Medic. So we wanted to bring this to you franchise owners today. And Jeff, go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll jump right in.
All right. Well, again, I'm Jeff Konopak. I am VP of Franchise Development. I'm the one that goes out and helps find the right fit, the right people that want to join our little family as business owners. And then also once that happens, I'm the one that works with everybody, taking my 35 years of experience in the home service businesses to help them become more profitable. We always talk about production. We want more production. We want more happy homeowners. But at the end of the day, it's more important. We really want to make sure we're down to talk about profit. And so that's what we sit there, we work on it, we get together. We have these annual meetings, John, where I know you and I used to do them, where we would sit and, kind of go through everybody's numbers and compare the KPIs from one franchise to another so that we can see, judge the health of your franchise and see where it is that we can, fix it and become more efficient and more profitable.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. You being a franchise owner as well. You kind of set the KPIs for the business. I know I followed your KPIs early on whenever I was starting my business and trying to reach those indicators, reach those goals. And of course, there's lots of KPIs in a small business and even big businesses. And we'll get into it later, perhaps on a following podcast. But like there's gross profit, there's labor costs, there's supply costs, there's many different assessments that we can take out of the business that might come from your profit and loss statement. They might come from your balance sheet, whatever it is. But there's one that we want to talk about today, and that is marketing. And how did you do last year, and how will you improve on 2024 and make 2025 even better? Jeff, tell us a bit about what you did in 2024. You broke a barrier. Tell us about that.
Yeah, and again, having Deck Medic's been around since 1990, and I joined it in 2008, and we decided to turn it into franchise in 2016, and I took over one of the ones here in the Chicagoland area, and so I wear that hat of being my own franchise owner, my own franchise business, and in addition to my responsibility of helping all the other franchise owners out there. I'd always done, we have a 7-month season up here in Chicago. So I'm usually right around $100,000 a month. And, I'm always in between the $700,000 to $800,000 worth of sales. This year, and I hate to admit it, but caught me a little bit by surprise. We talk about tracking your numbers and keeping a close eye on all of them. It was more the end of the year. I finally got a chance to really go through all the numbers. And this is my first year of actually doing over $1 million. And I would have bet you money that the first $1 million Deck Medic franchise we would have had would have been one of the ones down in your neck of the woods in North Carolina, only because you have the longer season. So I was kind of impressed that we had done that kind of numbers. A couple things helped put us over the top. We had a couple large condo associations. We had a lot of large redecks that went with us this year. There'd been years I didn't do a whole lot of that, didn't have the carpenters who I had actually carpenters that I believed in and trusted in. And so I didn't mind going out and selling those jobs. So, again, taking advantage of the marketing now. People call us, they see Deck Medic, they think we're here to fix sick decks. Well, mostly what most of our guys are here doing is minor board replacement, cleaning and staining the decks using our professional products and processes. But we want to get out there and, if you've got somebody that has a skill set to be able to do it and do it correctly, you can get into doing, even as far as doing redecks. I don't build new decks. I've got, enough on my plate now without having to get all the permits for everything that it takes to do all that. But in terms of just a redecking, for those who don't know it, that's taking off the existing deck boards, maybe shoring up some bad boards in the framing, but then laying down new deck boards. That helps us out because now we have that customer next year, once that wood has dried out, to come back and do the cleaning and the staining on it, versus having them go somewhere else to get that wood repair done. And then, perhaps they go to find yet another contractor to do the staining. We want to be able to do all in one.
Well, Jeff, that's awesome. $1 million. I know. Yeah, you said you did a few more wood repair jobs, redecks, condo associations, but I mean, you also had, how many crews out on the road during the season? 4 or 5? What was it?
At 5 out of this office. So I control a couple of different franchises here. So I am doing not only the our franchise down here, which is the little Lincoln Way school district area here, not very large, about 100,000 people, but a place we've been here for a long time. And then I've got South Cook. So out of my office here, for the first time, we did, I mean, not much over. We did $1,016,000, but enough to put me over the $1 million mark, which
That's
I was
great.
kind of
That's
happy to see, surprised to see, and made me feel good, that we were able to cross that over. And it helps that I've got a good of people here working for me. I could not do $1 million worth of work by myself. I
Right.
mean, hell, I'm an old man. I can barely do one deck, much less,
Well,
enough to do, much less 363 decks. So
right. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, yeah, you have the crews to do them. That is a challenge in and of itself, to have enough crews that you can know, like, and trust to go out there to do the work for you and maintain the high standards that DECMEC stands for, and that will do the job well the first time. So that's real important to have that. And like I said, we can talk about that later. But you still need to have the leads. You gotta have the people calling your phone and asking for your service. So if you don't mind, if you could kind of bring up your list of your marketing sources. I'm real curious to talk to you about that, and where you're able to get these leads from, over the course of 2024, because
sure.
that's like you talk about the chicken or the egg. Well, you gotta have the workers, and you gotta have the leads. So if you could bring up that spreadsheet, that would be great.
Yeah, I brought up. Do you not see it, John?
No, I do not.
It says I'm sharing my screen.
There it is.
Okay. So, and these are back to what we talked about with John and I were talking earlier with KPIs. And for those who don't know what KPIs are, key performance indicators. They're numbers that will vary from industry to industry. And we have them within DECMEDIC, and probably I would assume they're similar in any of the deck staining businesses that are out there, or is where we want to go back and really track it. You want to make sure that if a homeowner calls in, ask them, where do you hear about us from? And you may have to prod them a little bit. Sometimes they don't know. So when we go out there for the quote, we'll ask again. Or my wife got it from somewhere, I don't know where. So, well, if you could ask her when I come off the quote, I'd like to, we track that. Homeowners don't mind telling you. They get it. They understand why we're tracking it, why we're asking that question. Because it's important for us. One of our KPIs we use for brand new business. Again, it's not for, we have a lot of free work, previous customers, referrals, the trucker vans, you got to pay to have that vehicle wrapped initially, but that wrap lasts several years, so it's a long-term investment.
Well, let me ask you, before we roll down, I'd like to take each one of these real quickly, one by one.
Sure.
Starting at the top, and just looking at this spreadsheet. Those are the marketing sources that Jeff has been using over 2024. I know he's had other marketing sources throughout his time. Like we were talking earlier, he used to do a couple of home shows. Well, there's no home shows on here, but so there's other things you can add onto this, but this is what he did in 2024. And so if you look at it across the board, you see that, Yeah, he did previous customers. He sold $348,000 worth of deck staining or deck restoration work to previous customers, and going across that equated to 193 jobs, and that was 34% of the jobs that were sold for 2024 for him. And I love the average job size. That's real important to figure out. So he's about $1,800, and that's for recoats. That's for most likely 90% of the time these are decks, docks, fences, etc. that Jeff has done before. So that's a nice job size for recoat. So that just kind of gives you an idea. Then you're going further across the line there. You have 2023 sold, so you can compare 2023 to 2024 and the percentages you can compare. So this is a good little spreadsheet, and you can garner some information out. So, but back to previous customers, Jeff, is that looks to be about a third of your business, 34% of your sold business. Is that in last year it was, or in 2023 it was 31%. So you're hanging right around a third. Is that what you typically do?
Yeah, if you're growing your business, you're going to get out there and you don't be stagnant. So when I talk about KPIs and numbers that we're looking for, when I see an established territory and their repeat customers are 50% of the job, I know they're not really growing their business like they could. Or maybe they have reasons for not doing it. Maybe there are other employees who do it. Like I said, chicken and egg, you got to have both. You got to have the workers to get the work done. Selling all this work and then not being able to get it done is not going to help you. It's going to hurt you. At the same time, I know a lot of guys are afraid to hire on new people until they have the work. You got to kind of do both at the same time. So you want to get out there. So yeah, having repeat customers, again, for an established area like mine, around 33% shows that we're growing. And here we went from 751 in 23, 2024, actually, you talk to a lot of contractors and they're all down in sales, because of the fact that the economy, people don't want to spend the money. We always do well with Deck Medic franchises. Whenever the economy goes kind of a flat, stagnant, or it goes down, well, we actually, our numbers tend to go up because people spend more time investing and fixing up around their home as opposed to going somewhere else. We did great during COVID. So whenever there's any kind of downturn, we do well. We do well normally, but we're not afraid of recession. We're kind of recession proof, or hell, we're pandemic proof. So you want to get out there, and we actually grew this year, whereas a lot of guys did not. We had trouble finding, a lot of painters and people I know in the business had trouble getting work. One of the things that helps with your repeat homeowners is making sure that, not only that you have the guys to do the work, but as you mentioned earlier, guys are going to do good quality work and get you repeat business. You do not want a homeowner who's happy enough to pay their invoice. You want them happy enough to pay their invoice and refer you to other people. You want them out there also making sure that they're going to come back automatically in 2 to 3 years. Our bread and butter is repeat business. That's where our most profitable jobs are repeat business. We don't have to strip them. We don't have to do all the sanding and the 2 coats. We just clean and reapply. Beauty of a Deck Medic's oil-based stain, it just kind of fades away. Doesn't last forever, lasts longer than other brands that are out there, but it's still designed to slowly fade away. You have to change the oil in your truck every 3,000 miles. Every 36 months, you need to come back and change the oil, and you would. People understand that and they accept it. So you offer, it's not just about doing great work on the job site, but it's a customer service. Calling the homeowner back, making sure that, that you communicate with them. The most important, you got all this equipment in the vans, John. You've got sprayers and sanders and ladders and power washers. The most important tool you have is your phone. Calling, communicating, talking to the customers. Make sure they understand what's going on. They get it. It's raining, okay? So you push back. Let them know they're pushed back. Communicate with them. Make it a great experience from the time they first call us to having somebody there answering the phones, showing up for that appointment on time, presenting them with a proposal right away, not 2 weeks later. You want to do it right immediately. With our software, with SingleOps, we can, my truck and I can email the quote, or I can do it that night at home, but I don't wait. I want to get it done as quickly as possible. And you want to make that whole, so those become repeat customers. Okay?
Yeah,
And they
that's an
become your
outstanding
best
point.
advertisers.
That's an outstanding point because your previous customers, by doing what you said, by communicating, by ensuring you have good customer relations, customer support, not just you but your employees. They show up in a nice shirt, the van looks good. That you're rewarded with $350,000 of sales, without having to advertise a single penny. So that's an amazing, that number of 34% inherently has an amazing customer support baseline behind it. So appreciate the information on that, Jeff. That's awesome.
So
moving on to trucker van. Just to clarify though, the trucker van, that's the wraps you have on your existing trucks and vans, right?
Correct. And I'm a huge believer. We've got a great logo that really pops. It really tells people what it is that we do. People recognize it. I'm a big believer in lawn signs. You go back and look, we didn't get a whole lot of business off of just lawn signs. I think that helps with everything. But the trucks and vans, people see it. The number is really large, so it helps that they know who's in the neighborhood. One of the things I found a little surprising is that in the past, homeowner referrals was usually our largest marketing source. And again, I've tracked these for years. But this year, you look at it, it's all the way down. It's our fifth one. You can't really count condo association. That's a little bit different because I had a big condo association. But we did less in homeowner referrals this year than truck or van, a lot less, or from Google. And almost half at Google, and almost 1.5 times less with truck and van. So I just think it kind of sets to the point, and I think you mentioned it when we were talking earlier, about how people aren't talking as much face to face over the fence anymore, but they're seeing the vans out there, they're seeing the trucks out there, they see the guys looking professional. We're not out there blasting music, or cussing and pissing in the bushes and leaving a mess behind. They see a professional van pull up to a job site, guys getting out of the van, in the deck medic shirts, and I'm pretty good about making a replacement when they look too ratty, too dirty, and then getting out there and doing a professional job, getting neatly back in the van and moving away. And people see that, they notice that, and they call us based on that van. So I was surprised at how much work we got from trucker vans this year, as opposed to even like last year where it was only $120. We increased that by over $100,000 this past year.
That's amazing. I just did some quick back of the napkin math, and I know the trucker van wraps are about $1,000, maybe a little more depending on your market. And times 5, that's $5,000. So $232,000 divided by 5 is about $46 per $1 you spent. And so that's an amazing ROI just on
and actually, and John, don't forget, those truck vans aren't done every year.
Yeah.
I mean, that lasts several years.
Yes. Yeah.
So we had one van I had one van die on me this year. So I replaced it and get one van wrapped. So it was like $1,000. So I only spent $1,000 this year for $232,000 worth of work.
Yeah, that's
now I wrapped the other vehicles earlier, but yeah, if you don't have your vehicles wrapped and looking good, and they can't be rust buckets. I mean, they don't have to be brand new vans, but they got to look decent. I got guys in the shop right now sanding down rust spots, touching them up with white paint, getting ready for the new year coming up, cleaning all up, making them look good, keep them looking good. The Easy Off oven spray does a great job getting all those handprints off of the doors. You can't let it look like crap. If the window gets cracked, replace it. You don't want to go around looking like somebody that's, doesn't take care of their own equipment. Well, how are you going to take care of somebody's home and their property and their decks? So that's a really important one, of the trucker van and that whole imagery of what we do. And everybody kind of pulling together with the same logos, different phone numbers, but the same logos on there. So it becomes this national brand that is well recognized.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, moving on. So the Google Internet, that's basically, people calling in because they've done a search for deck staining near me, deck restoration, deck painting. A lot of people use the word paint. So they would do a quick Google search and find your number and give you a call. And that's where that one comes from. Is that correct?
Yeah, and here's what's fun with numbers is that you look at there was 15% of my $1 million was Google Internet. In 2023, my it was 15% of the 750 we did.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to get out there. That's why you go back and track all those numbers to see what's working, what's not working. But that's where people and a lot of that Google Internet is not just people looking randomly for deck staining. Again, a lot of it is they're typing in, need a deck stain, and we pop up because we're good about being on there. If you go to our Google page, I have nothing but 5-star reviews. And because we offer good service to people, so we always have those good 5-star reviews, and we're good about asking them. I run a reward for my team leaders, where the team leader that gets the most Google reviews, 5-star Google reviews, gets $1,000 bonus at the end of the year. So I want to make sure that they know this, and they're pushing the homeowners as well, and they're just trying a little extra hard to make sure that homeowner is especially happy with the work they're done. It's like the server in the restaurant that gets the most tips. He smiles the most. He's asking what you want. He's making sure you're happy with your meal and everything that went on, and really gives you great service, as opposed to the same server serving the exact same food, who's got kind of a sour look on their face and doesn't really care about if you're happy or not. Just pay your bill, and they don't get the tips. So same thing here. The teams that get out there and really are into and interested in and invested in, getting good Google reviews, then they're going to turn around and make sure the homeowner are happy and ask for the homeowner to leave them on Google reviews. And then we have this nice little contest that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
So
one follow-up question on that, and I think we do need to spend a little more time on this one, is this is their Google My Business page. You keep it updated. You have pictures on there. You said you have reviews that pop up on there all the time. So that's all, keeps you active, keeps the algorithm happy on Google. So when people do type in deck staining near me, your Deck Medic franchise is going to pop up pretty, probably first page, right? First, second, or third. So, that's what you're going for. And just to clarify, you've not paid for any Google advertising for that return. Is that correct?
correct. I don't do any of the pay-per-click ads. I mean, if I was looking to increase work for next year, if I want to add another van, so I need to do another 250, again, do chicken and eggs. I need a team that I trust that I can add another van. Well, now I got to give that van another $200,000 for my new season. Okay, where's that $200,000 in extra work coming from? So that would be one of the things I might consider doing. Now, again, the jobs tend to replace itself. So the more vans out, the more people see you. And I do believe that the Google Internet is not just people, blindly clicking on that, but it's also people searching for us. So we get a lot of people who have seen the trucker van or saw a lawn sign. We're very adamant about putting lawn signs up everywhere we go. So
Yeah.
they see the lawn sign and they go and look. And then when they call in, we ask them, well, where'd you hear about us from? I got your number from internet, or from Google. Even though they may be more likely to call us because they've seen us in the neighborhood or
Yeah.
they've seen us around. So yeah, that's important to do. Make sure that everything kind of works together in terms of, but you definitely want a good presence. You want good reviews on your Google My Business page, and make sure people can find you. And yes, there's nothing wrong with, especially newer franchises, getting going, spending some money on pay-per-clicks. I'm not at this point where I don't have to do it.
Right.
The longer you've been in business, the less money you spend on advertising.
Okay, those first three I think were probably the most important. Let's kind of move through these a little more to a rapid rate. I'd like to keep this under a half an hour
Sure.
if we can.
A condo association is a little bit different because that's going to be different every, but go after them. We've gone, I make a point to go get them. And, sometimes it's one customer getting you in there, you're talking to them and you find out who's on the board, and we're proactive trying to find those condo associations. So, you can see them in your neighborhood, you drive through them. You can see the ones where every deck stained a different color, and those are done individually. but you see the ones that are done in uniform all together. Now you know that the association does it. So do some real quick research. Who's the management company? Knock on some doors. Who's your management company? Okay, great. Let me, reach out to them and try and get them a bid proposal. Always try and find the deal with the president if you can. You're going to find that the management company wants to be the middleman. They want to earn their money. You want to skip them whenever possible and go after the board president or somebody on the board who's responsible for the decks and walk the decks with them and show them what we do and explain to them why our service is better than others and why they want to go with us. Those are great ones because they're very loyal, great repeat business. I have a couple of them that we've broken into thirds. So we'll do a third every single year. And then 3 years later, then we start over again and do a third, start over again. We've done that for decades with some of these associations, and you're kind of locked in there with our colors, our products, you can't just doing maintenance codes. And, they like the fact that we're going to be nice, neat, professional. And what they don't want is complaints from the unit owners about us. The guys are sloppy, cussing and swearing. It's just like any other customer. You treat them like individual customers. The next one down then is homeowner referrals. Again, I know people have talked about having a reward or incentive for homeowners to refer them. I've never done that. I feel that if you're going to be happy with our service, you're going to refer us. But if you go back and look at the numbers from last year, it was 11% last year, 80,000, and we actually dropped $4,000 this year to only 7%. So even though we went up 25% in sales, or actually a third in production, our referrals went down. And again, that might be back to people aren't communicating as much anymore, and they're seeing the trucks and vans instead of talking neighbor to neighbor about who you recommend. Also, that comes back to, we get so busy in the spring. I'll reach out, send out one email blast in February to repeat homeowners to give them a chance to get on our schedule. And then that's it. If I was more proactive, doing a better job of it, and emailing all of our repeat customers, I wouldn't do it weekly, but if I did it, every 4 times a year, we'd be more relevant in their mind, more upfront, and they hear somebody talking about decks or deck staining, call my guy, Jeff over at Deckmatic. He did a fantastic job. His team did a wonderful job on ours. That's who I would recommend for all the time. So that's all, again, kind of everything going hand in hand. Contractors referrals. That's a good one. Ryan over in Fox Valley was always really good about making sure you go out and reach out and make connections with all the local deck builders. We do all the architects. And here in Chicagoland, one of the largest architect franchises for architect of Chicagoland, Dave Berryhill, actually, refers us for everything because we take care of his customers. So you want to find deck building contractors. You're not building decks, you're not in competition with them.
Well, not only deck builders, Jeff, but also pressure washing companies, painters. Painters, many of them will do decks, but they don't like doing decks, particularly stripping them. Anybody who comes across a strip job is they need to know somebody they can rely on to go do that difficult work. So there's hell, it could even be I had a contractor referral from a guy who did underdeck systems, and so I would refer the underdeck systems to him, and he would refer to the deck restoration to me. So there's think outside the box a little bit. Could be a gutter guy, that does gutters, and he's on top of decks all the time. So, just and you can get that. You can network with those folks, at your local networking group. So you can find these people around.
Yeah, I used to do with Jim Webb, who was a deck customer of ours, and he would go out there. He did lawn care and so the weed killer, the weed programs, and he would go out there and if guys saw the deck there, they would refer us. So talk to this guy. There's so many other businesses that we're not in competition with that will work hand in hand with ours. So in this time of year, right now, and we're recording this in January, early January, beginning of the year, this is a good opportunity to go out, and a lot of those home service businesses that you would want to work with, they're slow too. So go out there, do a pizza party, do something, a big breakfast, call a bunch of guys and say, hey, let's all get together. I want to meet you. You should meet us before we all get too busy. Let's see if there's something that we can do to work together. So John had a good point. It's not just about the fence contractors and the deck contractors. It's everybody that's in the home that's dealing with homeowners who is not your direct competition. And a lot of those guys are going to come back and work with you, and you create your own little BMI group. You can certainly join a lot of BMI group, and you'll find a lot of bankers and advertisers working in there, insurance guys in there. You can create your own that are strictly about local home services. That's a great way to do it. So I would certainly encourage you to do it. This is a good time to do it, especially in the newer markets where you don't have the presence built up. Get out there. That's a good way to pound the pavement and make something happen.
Right. All right. So the next one obviously is pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes you'll customers will call, they don't even know how they got your number. So that you don't really know what their marketing source is, or you have a salesman, they forget to write it down, or you have a bad day and you forget to write it down. So again, it's important to try to get that information. So the clip,
But you want to keep that number as low as possible,
yeah,
because again, talking about our KPIs, we want to track these numbers compared to other people in your area, other franchise owners across the nation. So we want to know what's going to work. And the more you have where it's unknown, well, then all of a sudden, you don't know. And it's a big jump. I mean, we were at, only 4,600 sales for people that we didn't know who they were. And instead, we jumped up to 27. Part of that is because I can't do $1 million in sales myself. I had a couple of sales guys helping out, and these sales guys went out there, and it's not as important to them as it is to the owner. So you want to make sure that whoever you have answering your phone, that if it's you, great. Always track that marketing source. And if you don't get it in the phone call, which again happens, I get it. I've done it myself. Then when you go back out there, it's important. And we have that spot in SingleOps because we want to track, because all these numbers, are all off of a report created in SingleOps, our software to run our business. That's why we have this. So now we're not doing things 3 or 4 times. I didn't have to come up there. I cleaned it up a little bit, but I turned around and took all these numbers and just exported them into my spreadsheet, quick and easy. That's what you want to do. So you want to make sure that gets entered into SingleOps in terms of what the marketing source was.
Yep.
The next one was Clipper. I know a lot of people are kind of against any kind of print media anymore.
That's a mailer. Is that, we don't have the Clipper here. Is that a mailer, like a little magazine, or what is that?
It is, and we found over time that I don't do as well in the postcard ones. Like you get the ones that'll send out a bunch of postcards. I know myself, I'll stand over the garbage can, open it up, throw it away there. Oh, there's the kid's pizza place, I'll save it. Throw it away, oh, there's an oil change, I need that. So I only keep the ones I want. The magazine format, I find, works a little bit better for us because that stays around on the counter forever. People will flip through it whenever they want to go out for dinner, and then they keep passing our ad. And we've got to deal with the Clipper here, which is also Mint Magazine down in Chattanooga, so a couple other places where we get really good pricing because we do the entire region, so we share it. It's not terrible. I mean, not great. You can't live off of 24 grand in sales, but you got to remember that 24 grand in sales becomes repeat customers and referrals and trucks and lawn sign sales. All these other numbers started somewhere. So don't get stuck in that. And again, I only spent probably less than 3 grand on my share of the Clipper ad. So you want to be in that 10% range for new business. We have that number out there. If I was spending 10 grand on the Clipper, or I'm sorry, 3 grand on the Clipper, and I was getting 3 grand, well, I'm not going to do it. But I'm willing to do it, invest 3 grand to get 24 grand, which will become 50 grand, become 70, becomes 100 grand down the road. Okay. You always think long term with a lot of this stuff. Lawn signs, again, I know a lot of people, they forget about it. They don't get in the habit of doing it. I don't like them left in the truck because of the fact that the signs get messed up. So when my guys go out for washes every day, whenever they're wash days, if they have 3 washes, they go out with 3 lawn signs. And I want to make sure they go out there. Do some homeowners take them down? Yes, right away. You have other ones that leave them up there for weeks after the job's done, and we don't take them down. They're $3. Leave them behind. We've bought them in bulk, so they get good prices on them. So get them there. Unless the homeowner specifically tells you to come get it or take it down, leave it. If they want to throw it away, let them throw it away. If it lasts for a week, great. That's just more advertising for our business and branding our business. I don't do a lot in Facebook advertisement, so that's mostly people who found us and we're in some kind of a local group that turned around and said real quick, hey, who does decks? And then they chimed in, oh, Deck Medic did my deck. So a lot of those mom Facebook groups, that's where we get these from. I do try and join like the local town ones for like Manhattan, where I live, Manhattanans. And anytime somebody pops out there and says, who does decks? And I can say, I do. I don't pay to advertise on Facebook, but I will go through and make sure I'm involved in all of the the Facebook groups, and whenever
How
that question
often do you
pops up.
post to face your Facebook business account?
Mine, not nearly enough. I go in streaks, John. I mean, to be honest with you, I should be doing it regularly, but for whatever reason, get my call to do it. And I'll do it every day for a week, and then I
Yeah,
won't do it for a month.
I don't personally. I had a lot better result than the 1%. I was probably in the 5% range, and I didn't spend a whole lot on advertising. I just had 2 or 3 posts going out per week, and it seemed to get a little more traction.
Yeah, and we can do a podcast about that later, but definitely want to do more of it and make it your Facebook post about you individually. Don't make it so much about Deck Medic corporate. Make it about the owner. If you're the owner of a Deck Medic franchise, say it. This is Jessica Simpson. I'm out here in front of the deck we just did up here in Downers Grove or in Schaumburg. This is our colored toast, and show it. Have guys working in the background. There are things you can do with those posts that make it more efficient. More people will sit there and watch it, and more people that watch it, and the more Facebook, again, like Google, Facebook makes it more relevant, and they start sharing it more. I just don't need the work that much, and it's just not something I'm good about doing. Although that's no excuse, I should be doing more. That is one of the things I would, if I was trying to add a team and add more work. That is one of the things I would do. Not so much advertising, but the free stuff, regular posting, and I really need to change the way I'm posting the work. So, Better Business Bureau. Okay, we dropped down a little bit from one year to the next, but join the local BBB. We're here in the Chicagoland area. We're all doing it together as one. I'm sure they have them wherever you're at. You don't get a lot of work out of it per se, but people will check there, and maybe they found you in another marketing source from a lawn sign or a truck or trailer, but they turn around and check you on a Better Business. So you want that A+ rating there. It's important to have that. Okay. And then Home Improvement Network is just something we have locally up here. I really don't do a whole lot with them. I just put it in there because I wanted all the, make sure we accounted for every one of my jobs, every one of my leads, and then John was, always saying down in North Carolina, Nextdoor is big. Up here, it's
Oh
just
yeah,
not.
Nextdoor's huge. That's where we find all of our, HVAC guys, our plumber guys, our electricians. I think it's, in my opinion, it's taken the replace of the kind of the homeowner referral where people used to actually verbally talk to one another to now just text one another. Hey, anybody know a good deck guy or a good HVAC guy? So I've encouraged Jeff to get on Nextdoor up there to see if there's any activity, but yeah, it's real popular here, and it's free, it's cheap and easy. So get on Nextdoor, start a business profile on Nextdoor. You're missing out on jobs if you don't.
Yeah, the one thing I would get away from, we used to be really good back in the day was Angie's Leads. When Angie's List was, you had to pay to join it. I did really good numbers there, and it was phenomenal. And then there was this other thing, what is Service Master, whatever it was beforehand, and that became the Angie's Home Improvement Network, and then that become Angie's Lead. So it's just garbage anymore. I would not recommend anybody doing Angie's Lists.
Pay
I
per
just don't
lead.
feel.
Anytime you're paying for a lead, you're competing with other folks. And if you're not fast, you're still paying for the lead, and you don't get the job. So yeah, there's so many more, there's so much better options out there for you nowadays. I mean, look at all these marketing sources that Jeff had. So yeah, is that so? I have one question for you, Jeff. Let's just say instead of that $1 million, it says $250,000. You're in your 3rd year of business, 2nd year of business, whatever. And I just bought a new van for my company. where's your low hanging fruit? What would you attack first as far as, bumping up your marketing source, investing money into that marketing source? Uh, what do you think your top one or two items would be? Hey, I need an additional 100 leads this coming year. What would you do?
A big one, obviously, we've kind of stopped doing them. We used to do phenomenal at the home show here locally. Like we get 70 leads out of that home show, and we're the only deck standing company there. The painters there, but we're the only deck standing company there. So not only walking the show do I get a chance to do a lot of networking again with other contractors, so they refer us as well, but also we get just a lot of leads out of that show, and we get a lot of money out of those shows. Again, you want to watch your 10%, that KPI. If you spend your booth at the shows $1,500, we're looking for 15 grand in sales initially that will become more sales down the road. If you spend 1,500 and the show's just dead and you end up getting, 5,000, well, then maybe don't do it. But typically we do real well at home shows. I've not been done mine here locally in a couple of years, only because I'm always traveling and I'm always helping out home shows. The one in Tinley Park tends to always be the same weekend as the one down in Chattanooga. So I'll be down there with Bill. So I tend to miss a lot of them. But I don't need the work. That'd be a big one there. I would, you could consider doing the Google where you're doing the pay per click. So you pop up more in the topic organically, especially if you're a new business that doesn't have that Google presence where you're automatically at the top, then pay to put yourself at the top. Initially, you're going to find you'll spend more money doing your first $200,000 than you find later on when you're doing 1 million. Like I said, my total cost was less than 1.5%. You don't need to spend a lot of money on advertising the longer you've been in business. As long as you've got good reputation, taking good care of your customers, got good repeat business, a good core business, and then they're giving you a lot of referrals from that. The other thing is really going hard after local other contractors, that network. That's free. That's just you making phone calls, talking to people, meeting with people, buying a box of donuts and taking it to the big landscapers, shop, talking to all the sales guys, the landscape lighting company. A lot of these places are out there that will turn around and see decks and will refer you because they know that you're going to turn around and refer them. These are little things we can do to get there. Facebook's a big one. I think if you're really new and as far as getting your business out there, and you do so much stuff for free if you're just really doing it the correct way.
All right, Jeff. Well, awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you letting us take a peek into your inside baseball, if you will, on your particular business and where you saw the best bang for your buck. Most of those items didn't cost you anything. Obviously, you've been in business a long time. That the longer you go, the less you have to spend on advertising. But I think some key takeaways that at least that I've looked at here is, first off, you need to ask your customers where they found you, right? You can't track this information if you don't have this information. So, every single call you get, every single text you get, follow up. Hey, thanks for calling. Appreciate it. Hey, real quick question. Where did you find us? How did you find out about the great deck medic of X? And they'll tell you, and you track it, and you put it in SingleOps, or you write it down on a spreadsheet, however you're working, and then you'll be able to compare, to other franchises when you track all that information, like Jeff had, and and remember the 10% rule. If you're spending 10% of your sales, greater than 10% of your sales, it's probably not a good investment. So that's my wrap up. Jeff, do you have any closing words for our franchises and beyond?
No, I mean, coming up here this month, I'll be in the early February. We'll be meeting with everybody, and so a lot of these are reports that will pull out of SingleOps. So, but it's like anything else, what you put in is what you get out. So making sure that everything is entered in there correctly with the marketing. It may be too late for last year. Maybe you weren't good about it last year, but it's important to try and make sure you track that so we know where to spend the money intelligently. Obviously, we're going to do other podcasts about other parts of the business that are important to us in terms of profit and then costs, and both production costs of doing business, but also your overhead. And we'll be going through all those numbers as well, creating business plans. So, don't get stuck in just whatever I get moving forward, do the same thing you did. You want to go out there and always have a plan to grow, increase your business. And it's not only going to make you more money now, but it makes your business worth more money when you're ready to sell it down the road. Remember, we're all in business because we like being, our own boss. Obviously, we like the chance that we control our income, not somebody else. But you're really also making sure that you've got something that you're building value in, that you can sell down the road. A business that does $1 million a year is going to be worth more money than a business that does 100 grand a year and struggles. So track those numbers carefully so that we can go back and go over them, review them, and compare them with one franchise, Decmatic franchise, to another.
All right, Jeff, thanks again. Good advice. We will see you guys next time. Otherwise, we are out.
All right. Thanks, John.